let me just say thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time out and talking to me here at Black Gay Lesbian Transgender Historical Society.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Now please introduce yourself.
My name is Akime Walsh, or persons here know me as Anika Walsh. My pronouns are he and she and they. I identify as gender fluid, and I am a Jamaican. And I guess with my nationality, a lot of stipulations or a lot of conversations of what the social climate here in Jamaica might be. But I'm very much Jamaican, and as such, I identify with my country.
Who do you work for?
So I work for the most forefronted LGBT organization here. It's JFLAG. And working at JFLAG, they've been around for 22 years come December. Well, 23 years come December 10th. JFLAG would have been around for 23 years advocating on the rights for LGBT Jamaicans and create a more tolerant Jamaica for the betterment of LGBT persons.
So you mean it was born the year you were born?
I'm a year older than JFLAG actually. But we share the same birthday. My birthday is December 10th. And JFLAG's birthday is December 10th. But I'm a year older.
So how long have you actually been working for JFLAG?
So August of August of this year marked my 3-year anniversary working at JFLAG. But I think I've been doing work with the organization for 4 years, 4 to 5 years, or 4.5 thereabout, as I was a volunteer and a participant of a youth project that they had before I was employed there. So yeah.
And JFLAG stands for?
JFLAG is Jamaica Forum for Lesbian, Gays, and All Sexuals. No, we just use our acronym, and the term JFLAG is used to promote the advocacy that we do.
Right, because what is all sexual?
Exactly. All sexual is taking all different sexual identities in one that we can't list out if we're going to have an acronym for an organization. But it tries to encompass everybody who falls under the LGBT umbrella.
Oh, so and that's when you see JFLAG, you know that it is the LGBT
organization. And that's what we're for, and that's what we're coming to talk about.
Advocating for the rights of Black Jamaicans.
Yeah.
Black
LGBT Jamaicans.
Black LGBT Jamaicans.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this for 3 years. And what is your job title?
So currently I'm the procurement and administrative officer at JFLAG, but I guess in other capacities I'm a policy advocacy and research ambassador, and that would be at another organization that is very much trans focused, and it's Transwave Jamaica.
So the focus is on the trans community in Jamaica.
Well, at Transwave, yes. At JFLAG, we focus on the LGBT community. So we do work for the community itself.
Whole community.
Yeah, but Transwave's work is more focused for the advocacy for trans Jamaicans. Yeah.
And you told me you just got promoted.
Yes. Yes. I've been recently promoted. So before I was a project assistant and a project funded by the European Union through economic, social, and cultural rights for LGBT Jamaicans. And I guess my promotion comes with, or came in the form of administrative roles that I play at JFLAG, and something that I think I'm very much passionate about, just like advocacy. But yeah.
And politics, I'm told.
So I'm a youth parliamentarian. And being a youth parliamentarian, I occupy different political spaces here in Jamaica as an openly queer person. My preferred name is used, and my gender pronouns are something that people try to take in consideration when trying to talk to me, engage me in different spheres of the kind of work that we do here. So yeah, politics is definitely something I think I will be transitioning to in the next step of my career.
How do you see the future of the LGBT community? Because I've seen Heroes Week. Do you see an LGBT person included in that Heroes Week? Because I saw advertisement here in Jamaica about the Heroes of Jamaica.
So a big part of Heroes Weekend is to celebrate the heroes that fought for independence here in Jamaica. We have 7 national heroes, and of that 7, 1 is a female. Her name was Nanny of the Maroons. And I think while heroes are celebrated in different ways, J-Flag has also created that space for us to talk about our own heroes of the community that we serve. And every time when Jamaica is celebrating our national heroes, we have a we call it Prism, and it's an event where we come and talk about the different work that different persons are doing and who we see as community leaders and community heroes. And at that event every year, somebody is awarded LGBT Person of the Year. And I guess through that, person see different persons and the work that they do as heroes, and the community comes to a vote, and we vote on whoever was nominated to be Hero of the Year. So taking the national aspect and taking it back to our community is a big work that we do at J-Flag, because it has to be community focused, but at the same time we don't lose the touch of our cultural aspects in the work that we do here. So while a lot of conversation is being held about LGBT persons nationally, as them being LGBT leaders, we try to facilitate those kinds of conversation in smaller spaces within our community, but for our community.
What about having support from any LGBT celebrity, Jamaican celebrities, local celebrities?
So there has been support from celebrities here. Are they open to LGBT? I can't say.
So there are no openly LGBT celebrities that you can say of?
I mean, there are artists. Are they on a large scale of what we rank our celebrities here and how we rank our celebrities? Not really. And if there is, they're probably just one person who is open. But then again, it's just how out that person is, and
Right.
being or considered. The conversation of what out looks like in Jamaica, it's kind of very different.
Exactly.
Not everybody comes out in the same way,
Exactly.
and not everybody navigate the spaces the same way.
And we
So that's a conversation that's very subjective to who you're talking to.
And we want to put our American ways on what
Yeah.
coming out means, and
Yeah.
it should mean that way in your country versus
Yeah.
our country. So I'm
So it's totally something different here. I'm an openly queer person living in my country. And I wave my LGBT flag everywhere I go if I need to, or if I feel like I want to. But while that may not be the privilege for everybody, that's my privilege. And those are my opportunities. And I use it to advocate so a next person can see me and wish to aspire to be like me.
LGBT in America has become a orange is the new black sort of concept.
Yeah.
You know, we're the tokens, and they've even voted on which bathrooms are appropriate to use for the LGBT community, particularly the trans community. So when laws are being changed, things are different. It's a different kind of world now in America.
I guess the social climate here where tolerance is concerned, tolerance increased here in Jamaica based on a study that J-Flag tries to facilitate every year on the different perceptions of LGBT persons in our society. This percentage goes up every year. While I probably have to look back on the report, I'd probably be able to give a bit more data. But the social climate here where LGBT persons are concerned, like 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, it's not where it is today. I can say that I'm able to walk in a store in my heels or whatever I feel to wear at any particular time. And while discrimination is something that takes place in some very weird ways, so not knowing and you discriminate against me for not knowing is still a form of discrimination. But was it intentional? Not in all cases. And I think being able to go in different spaces and just be myself has shown how far my country has come. A lot of conversations always happen and say, oh, Jamaica is the most homophobic country on earth. I beg to differ. I live here. And as somebody who owns their own privileges, you have persons like myself who probably don't have the same amount of privilege that I do. But they still are able to traverse the country in ways that they think is best for them to survive. And I guess navigation is a big part of a lot of ways that different queer Jamaicans go about their daily lives. And things are changing. And I'm happy that things are changing. things are changing because visibility is something that plays a big part in changing societal norms. And you have a lot more queer persons who are showing up in different spaces and making persons know that, okay, we're here. And regardless of what you think, we're going to be here.
We're here, we're queer, you're used to it.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of persons, they're now trying to look at things from a different angle to say, why are we treating these people the way that we are? So through different engagement, you kind of hear the conversation that people actually talk about when talking about LGBT persons. It kind of give us a way of how our advocacy goes and what needs to be said, what needs to be talked about, who we need to meet with. And it kind of just comes all in a ball where we're able to just talk about things and feelings, and it kind of put people in the space that they need to be.
Right.
And it starts a conversation. So you hear the little nuances, you hear the reasons for different things, but then you also hear a part of the ability to identify with treatment. And I think that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Is Jamaica a poor country?
That's very relative to who the persons are having that conversation is. And it also is dependent on the skills that we're judging a country on. Because I think if we're going to say Jamaica is a poor country compared to the US, sure.
Yes.
That's a first world country versus us as a third world country.
Yes.
We're still developing, and with development means that there's a future. And with a future means that working towards different goals mean that you have to start very much strategic planning of getting where you need to be. I won't say we're a rich country, but I'll say we're a developing country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would say it's so to America that Jamaica's a poor country, and by far, what I see and how I travel, Jamaica's not a poor country.
I mean, we do have our discrepancies here.
There's poor people in America.
Issues,
There's poor people in America as well. So
yeah.
That's yeah.
It's all dependent on how you choose to.
Right.
Yeah.
How you dealing with the curfew and all that stuff?
It's annoying. It's annoying.
I did say last question and I asked another one, so
that's fine, but it's annoying. I'm not able to socialize how I'm used to, and that plays a very vital role in myself, my queer identity. Because I like to be with my queer friends.
Right.
I like to drink. We like to party, and we're not able to do that now. So I'm just home to work. Drink at home, probably get drunk at home, and that's boring. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Now, is there anything that you like to say that?
I guess one thing I'd like to say, and I don't think a lot of times when we have these kinds of interviews, we don't talk about the lived reality of the persons who live here. And as an open queer person, on most days I'm male presenting. Probably someday you'll catch me in a shoes with have a heel on it, and I feel lovely. But as somebody who lives here and knows the different experiences of a lot of people, Jamaica is not as bad for queer people as a lot of people paint it up to be. My country is very much developing, and with developments mean that the social climate in my country is changing. And as such, while travels in any country, your safety is very much a big part of it. I can say that my country is one that is worth the visit, and being that it's worth the visit, I'd really like for a lot more persons to see my country for what it is. We're a melting pot where culture is concerned, and as such, we're always guaranteed a good time here. But my country is developing, and the narratives that were once there aren't there anymore, or probably wasn't ever there. But things are changing, and I think that's the only thing that I love to say.
Now, what about the gully people?
So the gully girls, big conversation about them always happen. I'd say this though, with a lot that's happening socially in my country, there is the Larry Chang Foundation. And with the Larry Chang Foundation, it provides a space for housing for those persons who once lived under the gully, who are still homeless. And it's a shelter. It's an LGBT shelter run by LGBT people for LGBT people. And that shelter facilitates housing for queer Jamaicans who are displaced. and as such, funding can be something that helps the situation sometimes. But some persons have migrated, and I see that as something that's good. But you still have persons who once lived in that gully who are part of Larry Chang or probably now is still displaced. So yeah, I think that's what I can talk on that situation.
So the gully people. So the gully people are basically just displaced people, homeless people.
Yeah.
That not necessarily drug addicts and criminals
but it so happen to be LGBT people.
And it happen to be LGBT people. That's the beauty of it. That's why I asked the question. Gully. What does that mean? What is that word? What is that?
So the term gully is another word for the sewer. Yeah. So a gully is a situated place where sewage runs or whatever rain or drainage, they go to the gullies and then out they go. The term gully people came when homeless LGBT persons started to be situated in one of those sewers, and they were staying there, and it became a community of persons who were just situated in that space.
In that space, and so they just became the gully people.
Yeah.
And they happened.
And they claimed the term.
And they claimed the term, and they happen to be LGBT people.
Yeah. They were queer people.
Okay.
Yeah. And while you had other persons who occupied the space, persons who were termed the gully people were LGBT persons. The gully girls, the girls in the gully, but those are our people.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.